Today is August 8th, 2023. Welcome and thanks for joining us today. Whether you're affiliated with ASQ or not, really doesn't matter. We're very glad to have you attend. This is an open joint meeting for ASQ sections 1510, which is Southeast Florida, and 1508, which is St. Pete, Tampa. I'm Phil Santonzi, program chair for 1510. If you want to know more about either section, either or both, you can check our sites in the communities tab of the myasq.org website. And there you would look for the geographic names, Southeast Florida section and or the St. Petersburg, Tampa section. And you can find information about the sections there. You can also join the ASQ 1510 LinkedIn group for updated information as we go along. This meeting obviously was announced in a couple of different ways, including that. But feel free to join the group. Again, you don't have to be a member to join that either. This live event, as I mentioned earlier, is being recorded, and it will be uploaded to the 1510 YouTube channel. Actually, on the YouTube channel, you'll also find the student chapter, the Nova Southeastern University student chapter recordings from their presentations. They have a meeting as well once a month, and those are recorded and uploaded to the YouTube channel. You'll receive an email verifying the recertification units for tonight's meeting, but you may refer anytime to the myasq.org website, to the 1510 page, and look under the library tab, and you will there find the lists from most of the past meetings that we've had. So if you're looking for RU recertification unit eligibility from the past, there's a good chance that you'll be able to find the list there. At this point, I would like to load up a slide, and I want to introduce Will Wagner. He's the chair of 1508, section 1508, St. Pete, Tampa. Will, are you there?
I am here, yes, and for everyone's benefit, Wags is my nickname, so that if anybody wants to reach out to me, Wags is the easiest way for me to get. If you want me to turn my head when you call out to me, that's the easiest way to do it. So,
okay.
The thing that, if anything, what we're trying to present here on the slide is really some of the new activities and initiatives and events that we have going on. And obviously one of them is having virtual meetings like this in collaboration with the variety of different kinds of other professional associations that seem to be into change-centric kinds of environments. Obviously other ASQ sections, they're having other virtual meetings. We also have some brethren in the PMI world, as well as in the IIBA and ACMP world that all seem to be overlapping in some fashion, but having topics that are relevant to some of the things that we're all living through. So we'll have things on our schedule here in the near future and present it out to anybody that has interest. Similar to the way that Phil just described it, it'll be out there in the MyASQ, as well as it will be presented out in LinkedIn and other forums that we're right now connecting into. One of the other things that we're doing right now is we're having some in-person events in our local area for those of you that are part of our local area that are connected into this particular meeting. And really what we're trying to do is two things. One is social activities. We're trying to get people that are like-minded together to hang out with people that have an interest in the type of things that we're doing. One of them is power networking, which is related to the idea of having relevant topics and meeting lots of people as we have an organized and structured way of doing that so that everybody gets to meet lots of people and talk about topics that are important. As well as we also do what's called a knowledge hunt, which is a scavenger hunt bar crawl, if you will. But it has challenges within it because it uses a mobile app that are related to our expertise within that particular environment. So again, it's things that are educational in nature, but it's social activities as well. And then the other kinds of in-person events that we're having more recently are things called the Celebrate and Inspire series, which is highlighting some underrepresented communities within our profession to give us a sense of what got them interested in the profession, what got them to be an expert in the profession, and then what kind of achievements have they did, so that we can celebrate what they've done, as well as inspire hopefully other people that are interested in pursuing this particular profession. And then the last things that we're focusing on is we're trying to get some arrangements right now set up with some professional development training organizations so that we can offer up some discounted features here in the local area to help with all the ASQ certification programs that are happening right now. So we're pretty excited about a lot of the things that we're doing and hope to see anybody out there and participating in them.
Thank you, Wags. Well, thank you very much for that, for the update. Kara Bryan is the chairperson for Section 1510. On the slide, you see in September, we're working on putting together a networking and a facility tour, which is the brewery tour at 26 Degrees Brewing Company in Pompano Beach. It'll be on September 12th, the evening of September 12th. There will be recertification unit credits applied. You'll be eligible if you're there and you take the tour. There'll be some food and of course drinks, and that's at the 26 Degree Brewing Company in Pompano Beach.
Yeah, and we're going to see if we can do some type of workshop while we're there too. Somehow related to the brewery.
Yeah, that'd be great, Bob. Thanks for stepping in with that information. Some other news, there's a call out for 1510 board members. So if you're interested in learning more about the board, you can contact Carolina. You see her email address there, and I can get that to you, or you can contact me and I'll make sure you get the connection with Carolina. We also have in our section something called the Member Value Program, and you can look at the myasq.org website for details on that. But essentially, you apply to the section for a scholarship to some educational or some professional activity. Like for instance, last year, Kara and Steve were Sterling examiners, and Kara submitted an application for funding of that, and that was taken care of. And that's somewhere in the neighborhood of like $900, I think it was last year. Those kinds of things. If you want to go to an aerospace conference for quality or whatever, just so you can submit an application and it'll be reviewed as to whether or not it's eligible for an award, for a scholarship, so to speak, and whether or not it'll be approved. So keep that in mind, and as you move through your professional life on things that you may be able to attend. We did have a winner for the student scholarship. Every year we offer a scholarship for one or two students going into, well, not necessarily just going into college, but into any program and at any level. So even if it's a sophomore going into junior year or something like that. But this year's winner was Franklin Gay, and I believe Franklin's a student at Nova Southeastern University. In fact, it is certainly my pleasure to introduce tonight's featured speaker, Ruth Buchanan. Ruth is the Vice President of Business Development at GrowFL, which is Florida's sole not-for-profit organization exclusively dedicated to support and accelerate the growth of second-stage companies. Ruth brings more than 17 years of strategic doing in public sector-led economic development. Extensively, she has been a leader and manager of economic and business development for Manatee County, for Lee County, and the city of Northport over in Southwest Florida. She is an economic developer certified by the International Economic Development Council, the IEDC. Her leadership and efforts have earned her and her team's recognition in the economic development field. Awards include the Bronze Award for the 2021 IEDC Excellence in Economic Development and the 2021 Regional Partner of the Year Award recognized by the Small Business Development Center, the SBDC, at USF over in Tampa. In Sarasota County, Ruth and her team were awarded the 2018 FEDC Deal of the Year Award, which was for a 10,000-acre master plan community, in fact, which attracted the Atlanta Braves spring training facility. She has a bachelor's in economics and political science and a master's in business administration. Ruth is married with 2 grown children. She has lived in 4 countries and speaks several languages. Currently working on Spanish, she is currently involved in researching her family's roots to the 1500s in southwestern and northeastern Spain. Join me, please, in welcoming Ruth. Thank you, Ruth. Thanks for being here. Your presentation tonight is GrowFL, Growing Florida's Second Stage Businesses.
What an intro. Sometimes when you hear your bio like that, it feels like, oh my God, there's too much in there. But very nice to meet all of you. Thank you for the warm welcome. This is a very nice big group that you have here, Phil. And you're meeting at 7 at night. You're all dedicated, quality people.
Yes, they are. Definitely.
Yes. So let me share my screen. So yes, as Phil had asked me, I have the pleasure to share with you today GrowFL, a 501c3 that is not well known unless you're a second stage company. So Phil, can you see my screen?
Yes,
Okay,
and
good.
and you're loud and clear as well.
And loud and clear. Okay, wonderful. So I like to start with boom, the impact. Let's talk about the impact that GrowFL brings to the state economy. The first one there, it shows you that for every dollar invested in our programs, we put back $9 of total increased economic activity to the state. That's very, very good. So we're very proud of that. And you can see that we have helped create 4,000, more than 4,000 jobs to the state and an estimated $2 billion in total impact on regional sales. So that is what we do. And how do we do that? We support second stage companies in the state of Florida. So this is just a basic every state has a slightly different definition of second stage. So for the state of Florida, it's any company that employs at least 6 W-2 employees, up to about 150. There's some variability per industry, as you all can imagine. And the revenue is about $750,000 to about $100 million. So that's what basically describes the economic activity of a second stage company. They are typically beyond the startup phase, and they come to GrowFL because they're facing a roadblock or two. And so we help them position their growth and overcome that brick wall, as we also like to call it, and get them beyond that stage. Okay, so that is what we do. And why second stage? Well, you know, it's a small but mighty group of businesses. In the state of Florida, it's about 12% of total businesses are second stagers. And yet they create about 34% of the jobs. So 12% in the number, but they create 34% of Florida jobs. So it's, you know, it is, oh, we wrote it down. We consider them the backbone of Florida's economy. And they do bring in, you know, as they become more successful, then they bring in more economic growth and prosperity to the state. All right, so that's the reason why we focus on second stage. Just another slide later that will show you also our history. Oh, here it is. So, okay, so key milestones, GrowFL. By the way, we go by GrowFL, not Grow Florida, only for marketing and branding, because there's an agricultural company that goes with the name Grow Florida, and they grow green things that are sometimes not legal in other states. So that's why we go with GrowFL. So in 2009, we were founded by Dr. Tom O'Neill at the University of Central Florida. It was part of the university system for a while. 2 years later after that, we held the very first GrowFL Florida companies to watch. This is our very public, very very visible awards program for the top performing companies in the state. More on that later. And then a couple years ago, we launched our regional meetings, kind of like what you all have here. This one is, yeah, it's kind of like during the pandemic, but we are meeting in person for these regional chapter events. I also have a slide on details on that later. And then this year, big milestone for us. The IRS finally gave us a little piece of paper that says we are 501c3. So now we are able to accept those, tax deductible donations and all that. So that's kind of like the milestone of GrowFL. We do have a board. Right, so the left side of that screen is some of our board of directors. Pete Previtt recently became our chair, so he is now leading our team. He is a wonderful, very involved chair. We appreciate him. One day he was over at in Tampa, and then the next morning he was over as the head of coast. So he's truly very supportive. Robert Newland is a CEO and founder of an HR firm in near Orlando in Lake Mary. Also a nice business decision maker, driver, strategic thinker. David Carrier, recent chair, so he's past chair, and he will stay on the board like most boards do. The immediate past chair is still part of the board for continuity and leadership. David headed a manufacturing company. And then lastly, Dr. Cruz, amazing, fabulous engineer, thinker, inventor, creative, just wonderful woman. And she has time to help us as a secretary. So Dr. Cruz is phenomenal. And there's a few more members of the board. But so who we are is right there. We are, we provide timely and focused strategies and resources to support second stage. You hear second stage with us because that's the sector we focus. And then also we typically deal with the CEO/founder of the company. And by the way, at this stage, second stage, a lot of times the CEO is still the founder of the company. And that's our mission statement there again. It's a repeat of what basically I already shared. So let's move on. This is an overview of our business growth programs. We don't have many. We have about a handful of business growth programs because they are been a while, proven, they're effective, they bring the impact, our businesses like them, and they do work. So this is a screenshot from a flyer. And the first one on the left, that's the regional meeting that I spoke about. We hold 4 of these. 4 times in a year in 4 locations. And so there's Jacksonville, Tampa, Orlando, and Southeast is Boca Raton. So those are 4 areas. Yeah, we call them, don't ask me why we call Tampa Bay one and the others geographic, but that's the way each region wants to be called. And so the idea is very simple, just like what you all are doing now. Take time to gather around, share, network, ask questions. And the regional event has, Phil, you don't have this one. You need to have this. The gentleman that was saying we have to do an activity at the brewery, I support you because it works. Our regional events have alcohol. So there's networking, a little bit of food, and sometimes we do have a speaker for a particular topic that is important to our second stage CEOs. So the Leadership Institute, the next one in what is that, gold maybe, that one is similar to the regional event, but a little bit more structured. So we do have a speaker, and there's a that's the one with the facilitated discussion. And Phil has actually helped me with 2 of my manufacturing leadership institutes. Phil is an awesome facilitator. I appreciate that, Phil. So within that, yes, as I said, we have the MLI, the Manufacturing Leadership Institute, and we hold this 3 times a year, but I think we're going to have 4 times this coming year because there's a geography that is just asking for it, and we hope to oblige. And so webinar series, we host something like this, virtual, this is a lot of content. The GrowFL webinar series is heavy on content, heavy on technical information, because that's what the program has been supporting, and that's what our participants want. So we get deep into the topic. The one I recently we hosted is the I don't know how many accountants are in the room, but the R&D tax credit that the IRS has, and so we had a CPA firm explain what that is, how to use it, and what are the benefits, and who's missing out. And if, by the way, if you're not doing it, you're missing out on benefits. And by the way, it's not just for manufacturers. So those kinds of topics that we bring to our clientele. And GrowFL webinar series is also our very public facing. A lot of what we do is invitation only, closed doors, CEO only, founder only. The GrowFL webinar series is open. So it is a nice outreach and also a good learning for our members and future members. The next one there in gold, I'm spending a little bit because I know those of you are paying attention, and I hope you will send companies to us. The American Academy of Entrepreneurs, this is an Edward Lowe Foundation program. I have a slide on Edward Lowe, who he is, but for now, just think of it as a national program for entrepreneurship. So the AAE, as we call it, it is a mentor and mentee program wherein both people, both are CEOs, One is a newer CEO entering second stage. The other one is maybe already in third stage, or an older experience, not older, but more experienced second stage CEO. Both are committed to the program. There is a structure to it. There's an initial retreat that they go to the Edward Lowe Foundation, wonderful facility in Michigan, just to spend time and reconnect with themselves, how they are as a leader, what are the issues they're having. And then here you are surrounded by your peers and more experienced CEOs to help you through whatever that is at that point in your journey as an entrepreneur. It's a fabulous program and very effective. And lastly, on that one, that is our bread and butter right there, System for Integrated Growth, SIG. That is also an Edward Lowe Foundation program. And this is intensive. It's conducted over 4 to 6 months. CEO must be committed to go through it. And it is a journey. It's an assessment. It's hearing from your peers and those of you who have gone ahead of you. They are looking into your operations and more of your strategic vision and how you're implementing your business program and your strategies and all that. So that System for Integrated Growth is a very impactful program. We've been doing it, I think, since GrowFL was created. Well, when they renamed, it got renamed, but we've been doing what's called economic gardening from the beginning. And now we transition to System for Integrated Growth. So there's a lot in that, and I will share that slide with you all later. This is just a recap. So that logo there, the yellow logo in the middle, that's the Edward Lowe Foundation. And again, I have a slide on Edward Lowe in a couple minutes, in a couple slides. System for Integrated Growth, American Academy of Entrepreneurs, and the very public-facing Florida companies to watch. That's the third logo over there. The Edward Lowe Foundation has other entrepreneurship programs, but we in Florida, as the partner to the Edward Lowe Foundation, these are the 3 things that we are doing with them. And a quick snapshot of the System for Integrated Growth. The CEO comes and says, listen, I need help. I don't know what to do. I need someone to help me see through this brick walls. And it could be any one of these issues. Anyone, they get to choose 1 or 2 or 3 at the most, and then we'll bring in a team of experts and CEOs themselves to help the decision maker get through the barriers. That's the short version of System for Integrated Growth. And let's see. Okay, I already talked about the American Academy of Entrepreneurs. Awesome program. I mean, where else could you go and have a dedicated CEO hold your hand? Because that is at the root of GrowFL. That's what we do. That's Edward Lowe on the picture right there. Mr. Lowe, he's passed on. He's no longer with us, but his wife Darlene is very much active in the foundation. And the story is that he's an inventor. He created the kitty litter type of products, got very successful. And there came a point in his journey as an entrepreneur where he was ready for some help, right? Some hand holding, and there was no one, not at the time. So he decided to use his wealth and create the foundation that is now providing that level of support to second stage entrepreneurs, because he felt like that's his legacy. That's what he decided, he and Darlene. And so that's what the Edward Lowe Foundation is. They're in Michigan. We are here in Florida, and there's a few other states that are strong partners of the Edward Lowe Foundation. Already talked about those. And Florida companies to watch. This is, as I said, this is a very public program. It is through the Edward Lowe Foundation. And that is an actual picture of probably a couple of years ago now. And we celebrate the top 50 companies, second stage companies, the top 50 second stage companies in the state of Florida, no matter what industry. We're industry agnostic. What are the qualifications? The qualifications that they must exhibit fast growth. And we're talking double digit, sometimes even triple digit % annual growth rate. So these are fast growing companies, and two metrics. One is revenue. So they must show it like over 5 years. So we're not flash in the pan, right? We're showing consistent growth of strong companies in the state, and also employee count, understanding that different industries require different mix and number of employees. So, but they have to show, that consistent growth in employee count for them. And we are still W-2. We're starting to discuss how about the 1099s, but right now the way the program is, it's W-2 employees, and the state of Florida has at least 6. Okay. And what else was, and very important, and this is what I love about this program, it's not just about performance in quantitative form, but also in qualitative form. They must exhibit that their product or service is making a very positive impact on their customers' lives, right? So a lot of them are solving problems, health issues, or technology issues. So that's one. And then the second one is a strong corporate culture. And you're all in quality control. That's the buzzword right now, right? In workforce development and keeping your employees and all that, and training, yada, yada, yada. Corporate culture is key to that. So that is second. And then the third one is corporate citizenship. How are you helping, being part of your community? What are you doing? Are you volunteering? Are you helping with the kids? Whatever it is, but they must show that they are also doing philanthropic activities. So that's Florida companies to watch, and it's amazing. GrowFL has been doing it for last year, so we celebrated in February of 2023. That was the 12th year. So we have had 600 companies celebrated in the state of Florida, all across industries. Let me see if I have detail in the next one. So, must be privately held, cannot be public yet, must be headquartered in Florida because it's a Florida companies to watch, and that's an employee count again, and the revenue must not be a past honoree, and demonstrate the capacity to grow. Actually, we call that the growth mindset, right? The CEO, typically the founder CEO, is still growing and, taking their company to the next level. Some of those, I don't know if some of you recognize the logos, but some of those toward the bottom are current Florida companies to watch honorees. If those of you on LinkedIn, you see us getting loud on this again, like towards January, February, as we get ready for the celebration. There you go. That's a picture of one of the celebrations. So it's a dress-up event. There's dinner, there's program, there's a big curtain drop, and all that music and program and production. So that's a couple of the pictures, and I think we have some metrics there. So yeah, these are fast-growing companies with meaningful impact to the state. All right, so that's companies to watch. Moving to the regional event. This actually was my very first. I got hired by GrowFL in June of 2022. So the pictures here was my very first regional event that is in Tampa. So this is the one where I said we gather. There's alcohol. There's a little bit of hors d'oeuvres, and you just network and meet your peers and have a speaker. That actually, the speaker right there is this gentleman here. I don't know if you can see my cursor right there. That's David Habib. Oh, I don't know. Has anybody heard about Yo Mama? Anybody order Yo Mama? It's a sauce. It's the number one. I can't see.
It's excellent. I buy it at BJ's.
That's him. That's David Habib. So Robert, do you know the story? Do you know his story?
No, all I know is I eat it on everything.
That's fabulous. So that young man, I tell you, it's incredible. So David Habib, his story is that his mother was and is a great cook, right? So he went to college, and he started feeling like, why am I not healthy? I'm not eating right, and so he finally realized he's missing his mother's good cooking, which is good and healthy and delicious. So, and I think he was on his path, I forget, but he was not on his path to be a manufacturing CEO. He was like gonna be like this big venture capital fund or some guy, right? So then he went ahead and go, you know what, I'm gonna just recreate my mother's sauces and share her gift to the world. And here we are. He's been very successful. He's a Florida company to watch. He's based in the Tampa Bay area, I think 100,000 square foot facility. And Robert, I don't know if you know this, it's a #1 sauce in Amazon right now. They're top #1. So you're onto something. So yeah, if you all haven't tried the sauces of Yo Mama, you should, even just for the name. It's such a catchy name.
They sell it in 2-packs at BJ's.
There you go. Go to BJ's. Thank you, Robert. Which one is your favorite? What flavor? I have to tell him.
I think it's the sesame.
Okay.
That's excellent. On
Yeah.
sushi, no, it doesn't matter what you put it on. Noodles, you name it.
Thank you. I have to tell him that he's gonna, and he's such a humble young man. I have to tell you, okay, a little personal story. They say if you say a personal story, it sticks better. So this particular evening, so my first time, I was having a great time, talking to him and everybody. And Jennifer is not in the picture. So my boss, you'll see her Jennifer's picture later. But Jennifer is a natural networking, also a little bit of a she plays a little bit of a mother figure to Hannah. So Hannah's our young person. So we were so in love with David Habib at the end of the evening. Jennifer said, "Are you married? Because I want to introduce you to Hannah." Oh my God. So anyway, he's such a fantastic guy. So a lot of our CEOs are like that. They're young, they have this idea, they chase it, and boom, they're successful. There's another Florida companies to watch actually down here. This is Paula VAA. I have to tell you about Paula because this is so different. Paula has what I call the perfect confluence between social program and for-profit entity. She found it. The woman has found the golden magic formula. She helps people with physical disabilities to get reintegrated into the workforce. It's amazing. I think not just physical, but anybody that has the Social Security has put together in that and they're receiving some kind of help, she's reintegrating them, retraining them, getting them the confidence boosted, all the skills that they need, and helping them find their niche and what they can do. She's doing it. It's amazing. So in fact, her company is so unique. Okay, I'm telling too many stories. Tell me to stop, Phil. I'm telling too many stories. There's a young woman whose dad is a friend of someone I know. So the dad came and said, "Can you find an internship for Rachel?" And I said, "Sure, because that's my job." Sure. Well, Rachel is an intense teenager. She wants to change the world. And I go, "Oh my God, where am I going to put Rachel?" Well, here comes Paula. So I put Rachel in with Paula, and both are very happy. Anyway, companies to watch. I just gave you 2 different stores, but we have 600 of those already. I love the program. All right, moving on. Manufacturing Leadership Institute. This is the one where Phil has been really helping me quite a bit on this program. So as the name says, this is our program for manufacturing CEOs in the state of Florida. And we gather about, there are 3 of this in a year, but like I said, I think we're going to have 4 in a year now, Phil, because Jacksonville has been asking, demanding, begging. So I think we're going to have one in Jacksonville. So we gather our CEOs, and then we bring in a speaker, either a peer or somebody from whatever industry or topic. And then we have content. And then we just have a facilitated discussion, and that's where the magic happens, because it's a confined, safe environment for them to just open up. What are their issues? Well, what's happening? And, how do you do this? How can I do this? What are you guys, all of those sharing. And it's interesting because there's no feeling of competitiveness. it's just very open sharing amongst peers. And the one that we had in this is a June 21st, but the one we had in October of last year, 2022, Phil, remember we were kicked out of the room because we just kept going on, and we ran over time in our room, and we had to go to the cafeteria, but
Right.
you kept it going. That was amazing, Phil, that you did there. And because it was happening, that is, by networking and engagement, they learn, they get value, and they grow as a leader. That's really basic premise of what we do in our program. So so this is the June 21st, and Phil was also here, by the way, in Fort Myers. And this is slightly special because we partnered with the regional leaders because they got a $23 million EDA grant. That's the Economic Development Administration EDA grant. First deployment of the equitable jobs pipeline ever from the EDA, and Southwest Florida got the biggest grant, and the 23 million, and one of the industries covered is manufacturing. So obviously we're helping them with that. And don't know if anybody of you recognize, but I like sharing this because the the bottom right, that is Mike Booth from Arthrex. Arthrex is probably the largest medical device manufacturer headquartered in Florida. They're right here in Collier County in Naples. And they're not second stage, but because we have a good relationship with Arthrex and because it's for the grant, I asked them to come, and they came. And the one to our left there, that's a fast boat manufacturer. David Hartman is a software developer, but he came because he shared his workforce content. Bill Dobman, the one on the second from left, he's the only one. He has won Florida Companies to Watch twice. Both his companies have qualified to be a Florida company. He's the first one. He's probably not going to be repeated for a long time. He's a wonderful serial entrepreneur. And Ryan Carter owns a logistics company, fast growing logistics company in here in Southwest Florida. So that was June 21st. And then coming up, October 25th, those of you in the manufacturing sector, we're going to hold this again together with Florida Make More Summit. Our event is on the first day, starts at about 9:30, and then it's going to talk about just, redefining your business strategy so you can continue to stay competitive in this digital age. Expanded program, awesome agenda on October 25th. This is going to be in Orlando. And there's two parts now. We're doing two big sessions. The morning one is let's start with the end in mind. This is helping the CEO start to think about, what are you going to do? When are you going to exit? Are you going to sell? Are you going to share equity? Are you going to continue to do this? Are you just, whatever it is, consideration, let's talk about the end in mind. And so we're going to do that in the morning session to be facilitated by Clifton Larson Allen, huge CPA firm. And then in the afternoon, I was able to get the new state lead for the Department of Commerce to talk about exporting. Believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, not many of our manufacturers in the state of Florida, despite us being called the financial capital of Latin America, we still have, they have a lot to learn about exporting. So we're going to teach them all about exporting and how it really is a low-hanging fruit for growth. All right. Then the second part of the Southwest Florida Leadership Institute, we have a date, November 15th, to follow up on the grant and make sure our government partners are, making sure that they hear and listen and follow the suggestions from the private sector. That, by the way, this is part of what we do in GrowFL, is that making sure all the sectors are working together for the better good. So Florida Companies to Watch has been around for 12 years. We have celebrated 600 second stage companies to date. And just the last year alone, those 50 companies represent about $1 billion in revenue and more than 800 jobs. Okay, just 1 year. I showed this to the CPA firm, but this is just FYI to you all. We are supported by corporate partners that we are paid to play. You know, we do not ever get dedicated state funding, so we have to rely on the private sector to support our programs, and so we have corporate partners that help make that happen. Those are just some of the logos. We have more than that. And lastly, yeah, that's a small but mighty group. There's 3 of us. Oh, Hannah, I mentioned Hannah earlier. Hannah has transitioned. She's no longer an employee of GrowFL. She's remaining as a consultant for another half a year, but we have hired Melissa Saleo. Melissa is our new community engagement manager there. She comes from business and chamber experience and not-for-profit, which is fantastic. And then on my left, your left is Jennifer Taylor, our CEO, and that's me in the center. So that is us, GrowFL. And thank you for your time. I liked your questions. So what did you find interesting? Just for additional reference for your group here. So GrowFL is mostly funded, or we get a big funding from Florida Mix. I actually I do dual duty. I help Florida Mix meet its NIST federal funding grant through the Manufacturing Leadership Institute. But yes, I also help with those other entrepreneurship programs.
There's a couple of questions. Let's see. There's a question in the chat. The name of Paula's company. You talked about Paula earlier. What was the name of her company?
Yes. Yeah, thank you for asking. Paula's company is called My Employment Options, MEO, My Employment Options, and she is based in Pinellas County. So you can look her up. Yeah, I know it's a phenomenal company, and her daughter and son are involved in the company too. And the daughter, well, both are. I'm sorry. The daughter is in Australia, and the son, I forget where he is. I think in Europe. But it's phenomenal story. So yeah, look her up. What category would landscape architect? Landscape architecture.
Is that an involved in agriculture?
No.
Would you know?
No, it may be belonging to there's a next code for instead of professional support, it's the the personal support services, maybe, but then it's agriculture, okay. Sometimes if the founder, business owner reports it more like an architecture firm, but yeah, you said a landscape architect, they can do that. So it really is how they describe themselves and report their next code. For the most part, right? You cannot be reporting your life sciences if you're doing that, but for the most part, whatever they report it as is what we're basically order takers. We do vet the information. But yeah, that's a good question. That's the best I could make out of it. Definitely not agriculture. I don't think it's going to go in agriculture.
Okay. And one thing I would like to just make it appeal to everybody on the call is, you're eligible to make a nomination for the
Yes.
companies to watch, the Florida companies to watch. Your organization may have a vendor or a customer or a partner or just any company that could fit into the eligibility requirements. And I know I've done this before. I've nominated companies that were not actually eligible. They were outside the limits, but it didn't matter. GrowFL was able to filter those. So you may or may not know exactly that the company is eligible. Go ahead and just make the nomination. And Ruth, how's that done? Will there be a form or something like that on the website?
Yes. Yeah, it's very easy. Those of you comfortable with interfacing with the website, there is a web form in a web page where you just put the basic information, company name, CEO, email, phone number, address, what they do, and then it gets fed into our internal database, and then we'll follow up with them. Or if you just want to email me or any one of those in my team and just say, hey, you should encourage this company to apply, we'll do that too. Yeah. So however, and then we do the email blast. So if you get one of those as a reminder, typically the nomination period starts in May period. So we have the big celebration in February. We take a break in March, and then we start planning in April. And then we have the nomination about May through, it just ended. So May through like early July. In fact, we're meeting in Orlando next week with a bunch of judges because now we're going to make the cut. We're going to make the cut for the finalists and into the honorees. And yes, and if you have companies in those gray counties, please, please, please nominate them.
Yeah. And then GrowFL has consistently nominated the manufacturers in that group to, of the 50 companies, the manufacturers get nominated to the Sterling Manufacturing Business Excellence Award as well. And they're evaluated. There is some overlap in the criteria for both of those, but they're different.
Right.
You know, as you heard Ruth talk about, you know, the Florida companies to watch is really focused on small company or second stage company, you know, growth and some other aspects, whereas the Sterling looks at the systematic, consistent, you know, performance, not just in market, not just in, you know, with customers, but across the entire company with workforce and all, includes social responsibility and those kinds of things. That's some of the overlap, but we've had both ways. We've had winners of the Florida companies to watch come to SMBE and win there. Some have not. And we've also had winners of the SMBE who had not been part of the Florida companies to watch before that were nominated there and have actually won. So you know, it's been a cross-pollination between both of those evaluations.
Absolutely. And I was visiting Phil with the MSI about a couple months ago. And that is, they are an optic fiber cable manufacturer in Venice, Florida. And the CEO is very happy with her SMBE. And she is also it's a Florida companies to watch this year. So yeah, definitely strong company. Like
yeah, they were
that.
very good. They were very good. Susan says that she's her employer could be a potential nominee in a gray county. So she's looking for that in the next year. So thanks, Susan.
Yes.
Thank you, Susan. Yeah, that will be fantastic. Yes, I will look for you. I will look for your nomination. Oh, and there was something else I was going to share with you all, and this shows how effective, or one of the direct benefits of being a Florida companies to watch. You can all imagine, you know, you go up on the stage, there's social media, there's press releases, you get a lot of very good positive attention. But this is something a current Florida companies to watch. I was visiting with him recently. Oh, fabulous company, by the way. God, 3D, get this, 3D printed body parts. When you break a bone, you have an accident. He showed me an actual model of a part of a skull, an actual patient. They created the part. And not only that, to quality control people. I asked him, I said, well, what's your tolerance on the sizing and all that? I think he said 0.1 millimeter. I think it's what he said. So they give the training, they give the 3D modeling, they give all the pictures to the doctor. So the doctor has all the advanced information. They don't have to cut too much. So the precision is there in the short time and the learning. I mean, it's just fun. Anyway, what I'm getting to is, Mauricio, his company is a Florida companies to watch in February of this year. And for the big event, the gala itself, he actually brought in a potential, underline potential, investor. And so the investor saw the whole event and how he was, you know, up on the stage and and all the fabulous companies from the event. And I think the next week the investor invested in TechFit technology. So it works.
Thank you very much, Ruth.